The intense competition in the C segment has prompted manufacturers to approach the fight in different ways. Some have gone for body style, some have gone for features, some have gone for things like engines. Well, in MG's case, they've taken a different approach. They've gone for features, but they've also gone for an electric powertrain. And that's what we have today, the MG Windsor, their latest electric vehicle. And we saw the car at the launch where it got a shock pricing of Rs 9.99 lakh ex-showroom. And that's with the battery as a service included. But there are two more variants, and today we're going to drive the car, we're going to check out its features, and going to tell you if MG has made the right gamble for the decisions that it's taken. Are you enjoying the content of this channel and want to know more about cars like this Windsor EV? Then do hit those like, share and subscribe buttons, and also that bell icon to be notified the instant we put out a new video. Before we get into the ins and outs of the MG Windsor, here are the facts and figures about the car. Based on the Wuling Cloud EV that's sold in some major Southeast Asian markets, the Windsor measures in at 4.29 meters with a wheelbase of 2.70 meters, and while it is smaller than its segment rivals in overall length, it has the largest wheelbase thanks to it being a born electric vehicle. It is available in 3 trim levels across 4 color options and 1 powertrain configuration. This is MG's third EV for India, and it finds a place between the Comet and ZS EV. At the time of making this video, MG had only released the price of the base variant, which was Rs 9.99 lakh, and this with the battery as a service factored in. We will leave the full price in the description below once it is out. We begin our deep dive of the MG Windsor by looking at the USP that MG is selling for the car, which is what it says a comprehensive rear seat package, where the highlight is a rear seat back that can recline up to 135 degrees. Now, some of the major highlights here include rear AC vents, a USB-C charging port that's a little odd to access, seat back pockets and 1-liter bottle holders in both the doors. The party piece for this rear seat package is a rear seat back that can recline up to 135 degrees, or as MG puts it, it's a business class seating experience. The seat material is very nice. It's this quilted pattern, and with the recline you're actually in a very comfortable lounge position because the floor is flat and you have a large wheelbase. You get a lot of leg room with the seats pushed up to an average person's height. Indian for driving position, you get a lot of knee room here. You get good enough shoulder room for 2 people. Even if you want to fit 3 here, really not an issue, and it's a nice space, and especially if you are looking for something that is unique and you are planning to be chauffeur driven, right? But there are a few things that we will point out with this package. One being that if you recline the seat to 135 degrees, you are essentially in the boot. You can either have boot space or you can have the rear seat package. The second is that whatever you have stored in the boot, you'll be relaxing next to it. The third is that while you can have a central passenger even with the seat recline, they're going to have to sit awkwardly because you'll either have to recline the entire bench or they'll have to accept that they'll be like kind of leaned up like that. And the third thing is that one, you don't have power function for this recline. It would have been more of a brag, but I mean, you get these handles on the side. It would have been more of a brag, but it's more of a comfort feature. And one more is that you don't get any kind of rear screen package. I mean, the screen is large enough that you can see it from here, but even as an accessory, it's not available. And even if you fitted something aftermarket, it wouldn't sync with that screen. It would usually probably be an Android or iOS-based tablet that won't sync with that screen. Oh, and before we forget, you do get this, which is a center armrest to 2 cup holders. You get headrests for all 3 occupants and 3-point seat belts for all 3 occupants. Now, we've spoken so much about, the rear seat package and how it's as a chauffeur-driven car and what the ride comfort and things like that is. But if you do decide to get behind the wheel and take a space in the front row, it's also a really nice place to be in. The front passenger seat is electrically powered. The steering can adjust for reach and rake, which means that you can get your exact seating position. But the biggest highlight of the front row are these two digital displays. This little one that's about the size of XL size cell phone is the instrument cluster. It's the same fonts and interface as what you get in cars like the Comet and ZS EV. And this is the impressive bit. 15.6 inches. It's the largest screen that you can have. It runs the most comprehensive version of the MG infotainment system OS that you can have with a lot of control. But the thing here is that the Cloud EV internationally has more than 90% of its controls built into the screen. For India, MG has brought the AC controls out physically, but everything else is inside. Things like lights, volume, mirror controls, all that kind of thing is all in the screen. Which, if you look at it, it's like actually it's a Tesla philosophy. Just that, you set the functions in place and you get going rather than adjusting it on the way. But it's one of those things that you'll get used to in the long run, where you'll probably set functions and then get the car going. It's 50-50 either way. Some of the other nicer elements is this faux wood finish on the dashboard, which is only available with the top spec variant. This entire large thing that looks like one big aircon vent, but you get 1, 2, 3 and 4 here as is the standard design. Because this is a born electric vehicle, the floor is flat, which means that you have more than enough room and enough space for 2 people to sit here. There's enough shoulder room, headroom, leg room, and with this large glass roof, it feels really airy inside. One quirky thing that adds into the design of the car is this 3-piece cup holder, which means that you can either place 2 cups here or we'll clarify if it's removable or not in the description, and you can take it out and get it as one big cup holder, probably to keep a larger item in it. You also get USB-C charging ports, a USB-A charging port, a wireless charging port, a center armrest with a storage space, and 1-liter bottle holders in both the doors. This fully loaded Windsor that you see in our video gets features like dual digital screens, wireless charger, 360-degree camera, climate control with rear AC vents, connected car technology with home-to-car function, reclining rear seat that goes up to 135 degrees, a large panoramic glass roof, Geo apps and connectivity, tire pressure monitoring system, 6 airbags, ABS with EBD, and a full LED light package. Prominently missing from the feature list of the MG Windsor is Level 2 ADAS, which is offered by almost all its rivals in the segment, and if you were to go to the smaller cars, they even have Level 1 ADAS. That's something that MG has kept out at the moment for cost reasons and could probably bring it in at a later date, because it does exist with the Cloud EV and it's a camera-based Level 2 ADAS. One of the selling points of the Windsor EV is its quirky and I would say unique styling. It looks more or less like the elder brother of the MG Comet, and there are quite a few similar elements that will catch your attention. The first one is this cowl-like design that extends out from the glass house, where you can see the DRLs built into it. The second is of course these low-set headlamps, which come partly in regulation but have also been integrated well into the design. Overall, when you see the MG Windsor, face to face, it's a car you're really going to recognize either in silhouette form or even if just the lights are on. We're here looking at the profile of this new MG Windsor, and there are quite a few elements that add to its overall quirky appeal. The first is of course the really tiny overhangs that give it the CUV appeal. Second is that you get pop-out door handles. In fact, it's only one of the 2 cars in this price range that comes with pop-out door handles. The other is, of course, you can see a sort of high stance. I mean, it's riding 18-inch nice diamond-cut alloy wheels on the top spec model, but you can see a large gap between the wheels to give it that crossover stance. The rear of a car is always crucial in terms of design elements, because you're going to be following that in traffic a lot, and you want that to be one of the most identifiable bits of your vehicle, right? And the rear of the MG Windsor has no dearth of elements when it comes to being uniquely identifiable. The signature is of course this large 1-piece tail lamp that runs from end to end and has like a big red band so that you know you're following an MG. Again, very similar to what is offered on the Comet, big brother, small brother types. You get this large Windsor badge, the MG badging, and a large glass house that's slightly sloped, but actually doesn't affect rear visibility that much. You also get a nice rear spoiler with a high mounted stop lamp, and overall it's for want of better term, it's again very quirky looking and something unique that you're following an MG Windsor when you're in traffic because of its odd design, or I wouldn't even say odd design, unique design, which means that you're following exactly that car in traffic. One of the things that you'll notice with this car is that it doesn't have an internet inside badging, but for the amount of tech it's carrying, I don't think that really matters. We've got behind the wheel of the MG Windsor, and you get it with one electric motor and one battery pack option for India, and the motor powers the front wheels. You can see the output below. It's actually a pretty decent number for a vehicle of this size and capacity. MG, or Wuling rather, the Indonesian counterpart for MG, offers this with a second and larger battery pack, but for cost reasons, MG has come with this battery pack option in India. Now, as a powertrain to use, it's extremely addictive, especially if you put it in the sport mode. Right? You get different driving modes: Eco, Eco Plus, Normal, and Sport. If you put it in the sport mode, throttle becomes extremely sharp, like so much so that you've got to be careful that you don't just fly forward and your occupants get thrown in the back as you gas it forward. Here, I'll show you. I'm switching it now to sport mode, and I'm going to gas it, and there we go. It just takes off in a linear manner. I'm switching back to normal, which is what you would use in day-to-day driving city conditions, right? As a powertrain to use. So one of the things with MG, and this is something we have seen with the Comet and we have seen with the ZS EV, what is indicated in the MID, if it says, like right now it's saying 74%, 235 kilometer range, that's exactly what you will get. And depending on, if you change the mode, the range changes, and that's exactly what you get. So you know what you're getting into. That's something that's very good with MGs. Now, one of the places that this car has to shine, especially, if MG is saying business class rear seating experience, offering that reclining rear seat, and you get AC vents and so much of legroom and all, is ride quality, right? If you're targeting something that requires carry around people in the back, if that is something you're aiming at, and then it's got to ride nicely, because you can't unsettle your occupants, right? Especially if you go bumps and potholes and all. And this does a surprisingly nice job despite the weight of the car and despite the large 18-inch wheels, right? You do feel a kind of underlying stiffness, but it's not something uncomfortable. You're not going to be thrown around wildly in the car if you go over a bad patch or something. The one thing you got to be cautious of and is the fact that it is 18-inch wheels, and even if there is high ground clearance, you do have a battery pack underneath, which means that you got to be careful that you don't scrape, right? Especially if you have these really sharp edge potholes. Taking them with a little bit of caution is helpful. As we said, the car comes with 4 driving modes: Eco, Eco Plus, Normal, and Sport. The throttle really sharpens up in the Sport mode, but for day-to-day driving, you're going to be in the normal mode, and that's, it does what it's supposed to do, right? The other thing is, of course, visibility. All around, you get this massive glass house with these little cutouts here, and you can see the edges of the car. It has these massive C-pillars which you can't see around, but in the top spec version, you get a 360-degree camera, which is helpful. It's not clear at this point of time. If we look at the variant options, the 360-degree camera is not available in the base version, the one that MG is saying 9.99 lakh with the battery as a service option, right? So visibility is an issue. Rear visibility is pretty decent. You get a large IRVM and you get a large glass house. It's slightly sloped, but you don't have an issue seeing around the edges. Right? We will, of course, get this car into the Carvale garage at some point, and we'll be able to test it, tell you what the actual space inside is like, performance figures, be very impressive performance figures. If that is the kind of acceleration that you're getting, we'll also be able to tell you how good the rear seat package really is, things like that. So if you have any questions on that, you can let us know in the comment section below. And if you want to know something about the car specifically, let us know about that too in the comment section below. And when we get the car, we shall let you know on our social media channels. As a car to drive, the steering is a little bit overly assisted. It doesn't change with the drive modes, but it gets the job done. It does a pretty decent job of masking the car's size. You don't have to put in too much effort to make U-turns or to change directions and things like that. Steering is a bit numb, but not an issue, especially given that a lot of the people buying this car will probably use it in city conditions. Not going to be a problem. We have had some time with the MG Windsor, and let's sum up our experiences by looking at the pros and cons. Now, on the side of pros, it's very unique looking. It's something that would say that a mid-size SUV or a mid-size CUV, as MG is calling it, coming straight out of the future. Very quirky looking, but with very similar design elements, right? The feature list is pretty decent inside. You get this 135-degree reclining rear seat, large screens, connected car technology, and a pretty extensive connected car technology list. At that, you get home to car functions, you get a Geo app store, things like that. So it's got almost all the right toys that you want when you are buying what you would consider a tech-heavy car. That's something that MG does well, and it's pretty decent. On the driving front, it rides very well. Even though it's got these large 18-inch alloy wheels, it takes these bumps and potholes without much difficulty. You got to be a little careful on the sharp edge potholes, but otherwise, it's really not an issue. It's got slightly fat tires, so you're not going to feel the effect that much. It is a little bit on the firmer side, but nothing that's going to make it difficult for you. The powertrain is addictive, right? Especially if you put it in the full-fat sport mode and just gas the throttle, it just takes off. That's one of the things of it being an electric, that it is addictive. And one of the things with this being an MG is that you get exactly what range is shown in the odometer. If it says that you're at 75% and 250 kilometer range, that's exactly what you're going to get. And that is reassuring because you know exactly how much you can drive, how fast you can drive, and how hard you can push the car before you get into the danger zone. Now, in terms of cons, the quirky looks again come into play because it might not be everyone's cup of tea, right? That's why you have so many of these vehicles emulating standard SUV designs or standard crossover designs. This may not appeal to everyone, it may have a very specific appeal. The other thing is that it's missing few feel-good features. One is that if you're offering a recline function for the rear seat, selling it as a business class, it should have been a powered rear seat, right? You can then get it to the exact height that you want. And the second thing is that it's missing level 2 ADAS. All of its competition up and down have ADAS in some form or the other. Level 1 for the smaller cars, level 2 for the bigger cars. This is not offering it at all. And sources in MG have attributed that to cost. It may turn up in the future because it exists for the cloud EV in the Indonesian market. It's a camera-based ADAS, but it's there. But at present, it's not available for the Indian market. Now, the third thing that will come into play after pros and cons is pricing. At the time of making this video, MG had only released one price, which was rupees 9.99 lakh, and that is for the base model, and that is with the battery as a service. That means you can rent the battery for a fixed cost. We've got the numbers here on the screen. They've not revealed prices for the other two variants, and if they manage to get the top spec model, say under 16-17 lakhs, then it's going to be a banger. Otherwise, MG is going to have to fight really hard against the competition. We'll put the prices in the description once MG releases them. What do you think of the MG Windsor? Do let us know in the comment section below. Have we missed anything? Is there anything that you want MG to add to the car whenever it upgrades it? Do let us know about that too in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.